Welcome back to Movies in Short. Today we will do a recap of the movie Godzilla Minus One, so enjoy the recap. In 1945, during the closing stages of the Second World War, Koichi Shikishima was assigned the role of a kamikaze pilot with the mission to destroy an American Army vessel. However, he faltered in his resolve and altered his course to Odo Island, claiming that his plane required repairs. On that fateful night, the island fell under the invasion of a deranged kaiju, causing all the mechanics to seek refuge while Koichi rushed towards his aircraft. The soldier's intention was to confront Godzilla and attempt to eliminate the creature, but he found himself paralyzed by fear. Consequently, his comrades opened fire, inadvertently drawing the attention of the colossal beast. At that precise moment, Koichi witnesses the tragic elimination of all those men right before his eyes, feeling utterly helpless to assist them. Following the eradication of the mechanics, Godzilla proceeds to obliterate the aircraft, yet Koichi manages to escape the onslaught, emerging as one of the few survivors on the island. Tachibana survives the attack as well, and holds Koichi responsible for the loss of his comrades. Several days later, the soldier returns to Tokyo, only to discover the complete devastation of the city. Throughout the war, he endured the loss of all his friends and family, now compelled to fight for his own survival. One fateful day, Koichi encounters Noriko and learns that she has taken in a child who tragically lost her mother during an air raid a few weeks prior. From that moment onward, Koichi resolves to assist the woman in raising Akiko, diligently following Sumiko's guidance on caring for the infant. With the addition of 2 more mouths to feed, the former pilot embarks on a quest to secure a job that can adequately provide for his newfound family. Eventually, he secures employment in the perilous task of clearing the mines that litter the ocean as remnants of the war. When Noriko discovers that her friend is putting his life at risk for this occupation, she becomes angry. However, Koichi explains that he had no alternative, as it is the sole means to ensure Akiko's survival. On his inaugural day on the job, he realizes that there are over 6,000 mines that must be disarmed along the coast of Japan, with many possessing magnetic properties that would trigger an explosion if a metal vessel were to approach. It is at this juncture that Koichi encounters Noda, a Japanese man who had developed naval weaponry during the war. In the team, there are also Akitsu and Mizushima, who provide instruction to the newcomer on how to safely clear the mines. In addition to detaching the mines from the seabed and bringing them to the surface, the crew must also detonate them. Koichi utilizes his war-acquired skills to shoot the mines and ensure they explode at a safe distance. Several months pass, and the team successfully disarms hundreds of mines while keeping everyone alive. Alongside Noriko, Koichi raises Akiko with utmost love and affection, providing her with the care she never received from her biological parents. Through his hard work, he saves enough money to construct a house for his family and invites his friends to a celebratory dinner to commemorate this remarkable accomplishment. When Akiko reaches adulthood, Noriko makes the decision to seek employment in order to achieve independence, recognizing that Koichi is not obligated to provide for her indefinitely. Despite her love for Koichi, Noriko's intention is to carve out her own path in life, allowing him the opportunity to find a partner and start his own family. She informs him that Sumiko has volunteered to care for Akiko while she is at work, but Koichi is displeased from what he heard, as he is accustomed to having them both at home. The following day, as Koichi and his crew are gathering mines in the open sea, they stumble upon a shipwreck and speculate about the type of creature that could have caused such destruction. Suddenly, Koichi recalls the attack he experienced on Odo Island, and asserts that Godzilla has returned. Upon comprehending the situation, Akitsu grasps the true motive behind their mission in the ocean and feels deceived, as no one had forewarned them about the impending encounter with a king of kaiju. As the realization dawns on him that Godzilla could emerge at any given moment, Koichi is filled with anxiety, torn between seeking vengeance for his fallen comrades and the overwhelming fear of facing the monstrous creature. Suddenly, the vessel they are aboard finds itself encircled by deceased abyssal beings, prompting the soldier to deduce that Godzilla is drawing near. Hastily, he raises the alarm and urges his comrades to retreat to safety. However, defying the advice to flee, Akitsu opts to confront the beast head-on, preparing himself to deploy the mines he had gathered. As Godzilla rose from the water, the captain evacuates while his crew releases the mines into the ocean, awaiting the monster's approach to trigger the explosion. Following the chaos, Godzilla retreats to recuperate from its battle wounds, while Koichi and his companions make their way back to Tokyo. Awakening in a hospital room with a head injury, he rises to his feet and prepares to embark on his recovery journey. Koichi assists in the evacuation of the city. It is then revealed that the Japanese government has chosen not to disclose the existence of Godzilla, as the nation is still recovering from the war. When Koichi returns home, Noriko notices his despondency and inquires about what happened. Subsequently, he makes the decision to reveal the truth and confesses that he was a kamikaze pilot. Instead of carrying out his mission to destroy the American ship and sacrifice his life for his country, he succumbed to fear and fled. Koichi then crash-landed on Odo Island, where a group of mechanics were stationed, and claimed that his plane was faulty. On that fateful day, a colossal titan emerged, and the mechanics requested him to utilize his aircraft's weaponry to combat it. However, once again, the pilot was paralyzed by fear, resulting in the demise of all those men. Since then, Koichi has been living in a state of confusion. And when Godzilla reappeared for the second time, he was once again unable to vanquish the creature. Following this series of failures, he believes that he has lost his honor, and is therefore unworthy of continuing to exist. Upon hearing this, Noriko empathizes with her friend and attempts to console him, asserting that he was destined to survive, which is why he managed to evade fate on numerous occasions. While the population rebuilds the country, Japanese soldiers persist in their efforts to eliminate Godzilla before it inflicts further devastation. Reports indicate that the Titan is heading towards Tokyo Bay, prompting the sailors to deploy explosives in an attempt to halt its advance. However, the blockade proves ineffective, and the creature proceeds towards Shinagawa. Consequently, the government is left with no choice but to issue an emergency alert and commence the evacuation of the town. Noriko finds herself aboard a train when Godzilla launches an attack. Koichi emerges from hiding, devastated to find Noriko gone. After causing widespread destruction and claiming many lives, Godzilla retreats to the ocean. At Noriko's funeral, Koichi is still in shock, while Sumiko tries to comfort Akiko, who misses her mother. Noda reveals to his friend a strategy to defeat Godzilla and invites him to join the plan execution, as the government struggles to protect its people. The plan devised by Noda has brought together former Navy officers who are determined to carry it out. According to a former Navy engineer, conventional weapons are ineffective against Godzilla due to his rapid regeneration abilities. Therefore, an alternative strategy must be used to destroy it. The engineer demonstrates the existence of a specific type of gas that can sink objects by using a piece of floating wood. He intends to use this gas to trap Godzilla at the bottom of the sea. Noda explains that the Sagami Trench, with its great depth, is the ideal location to lure Godzilla. By utilizing Freon gas, the creature will sink rapidly, succumbing to the immense water pressure. To execute this plan, ships will be required to surround the Titan and trap it with cables equipped with Freon gas. Once the monster is ensnared by the cables, the gas will be released, causing it to sink swiftly to the deepest depths of the ocean. In the event that this strategy fails, there is a backup plan, referred to as Plan B. This involves using a buoy to swiftly bring Godzilla to the surface. If the hydraulic pressure fails to crush the creature, it will face a huge decompression that will destroy the whole body. Noda concludes his explanation by acknowledging that there are no guarantees of success, but emphasizes that this plan offers the best chance of saving Japan from Godzilla's rampage. When everyone heard about the strategy, numerous men declined to participate in the plan, convinced that they have already made significant sacrifices for their country and would rather spend the only time they have left with their lives with their families. Nevertheless, the majority of former soldiers opt to remain and confront their greatest adversary, believing it to be the only means of safeguarding their loved ones. Later, over dinner, Akitsu asks about his friend's strategy to lure the Titan to the Sagami Trench, to which Noda discloses their intention to use loudspeakers to broadcast a voice recording obtained from Godzilla. Upon hearing the recording, the kaiju will perceive it as the vocalization of a rival challenging it for territory, prompting it to follow. However, Akitsu deems this plan flawed, prompting Koichi to propose a more effective method of attracting Godzilla. He suggests using a fighter plane to provoke Godzilla and incite its rage, leading it to pursue him into the trench. Despite the potential danger of being struck by the atomic breath, Koichi resolves to carry out the mission, with Akitsu realizing his friend's motivation to avenge Noriko's demise. Koichi is then urged by Akitsu to have married her when the opportunity arose, as he was aware of her deep affection for him. Koichi admits his love for her but refrained from proposing due to feeling unworthy and dishonorable after abandoning his previous mission. A couple of days later, Koichi is introduced to the fighter plane that will aid him in the upcoming battle, recognizing it as the most advanced warplane ever constructed, boasting exceptional speed and designed for bomber destruction. As the plane has been inactive for an extended period, a mechanic must be summoned to perform the necessary repairs. Koichi seeks out Tachibana for assistance, the sole surviving mechanic from the chaos on Odo Island who still harbors resentment towards Koichi for past events. However, upon learning of the young man's willingness to risk his life in the mission to destroy the Titan, Tachibana decides to lend his expertise. After days of tracking Godzilla's movements, Noda successfully predicts its next location at the Sagami Trench the following day, early in the morning. This requires the soldiers involved to mobilize and be in position very early when the sun rises. That evening, Noda advises his comrades to spend time with their families, recognizing the dangers of the upcoming mission. Despite the high risks involved, Noda is determined to ensure the safety of his team and assures them that their sacrifices will not be in vain. With only a few hours remaining before Koichi embarks on the perilous mission, he chooses to spend time with Akiko, not knowing if this will be the last time he sees her, the only person he considers family. Akiko presents him with a drawing of her parents, Koichi and Noriko, which triggers her emotions as she expresses missing her mother. Koichi comforts her, holding her close in a moment of solace. The following day, prior to his departure, he hands over an envelope containing money to the girl, who will now be under Sumiko's care. Koichi then mounts his motorcycle and heads towards the shed where the aircraft is placed. Upon arrival, he encounters Tachibana. Koichi's true plan is not just to provoke Godzilla with his shots, but to fly directly into Godzilla's mouth and detonate the plane, as a backup in case Noda's plan fails. Despite knowing that he will sacrifice his own life in the process, Koichi spares no effort in eliminating the creature that took Noriko's life and securing Akiko's future. The sailors who will lead the ship are already in position, eagerly awaiting Godzilla's arrival to commence the mission. As planned, they utilize a loudspeaker to emit the sound of Godzilla, so it could get their attention. Enraged, Godzilla swiftly approaches the bay, prompting Koichi to take off and attempt to intercept it. Just before departing, he places a photograph of Noriko on the dashboard, drawing inspiration from her image to carry out his task. At that moment, Sumiko receives a telegram addressed to Koichi. It reveals that Godzilla has emerged from the sea and is heading to Tokyo, coinciding with the Koichi's arrival and commencement of the bombing. After unleashing a barrage of shots, Koichi successfully entices Godzilla into the sea, prompting Noda to request the general to transmit a message to the other ships, ordering them to assume battle positions. Godzilla becomes furious by the attacks from the plane, so it uses the radiation from its body to unleash the atomic breath at him, almost hitting the plane. Witnessing the immense power of Godzilla, some soldiers contemplate abandoning ship, knowing that any vessel hit will result in immediate elimination for everyone on board. Despite this, Noda